Alright. I'm Chenea Schacher for DevilsDigest.com here with publisher Hope Rubino after the Sun Devil men's basketball team had their first win of the Pac-12 conference play in 66-47 against the Washington State Cougars. Now they started off the first half. It was a little bit scary. They had 11 turnovers, not very many points. Kim, what can you attribute that to?
Well, I mean, obviously the sloppy game that Arizona State had in the first half definitely contributed to that. Also, Shaquille McKissick and Jermaine Marshall, two of the stars of today's game, had some foul trouble early on. They were taken out, and the reserves really weren't able to go ahead and pick up the slack when that happened. And Washington State was able to go on a little run over there. ASU was leading by 11 points with 5 minutes left in the half, and ended up leading only by 4 at halftime. But the second half was obviously much better play. Only had 3 turnovers the entire second half. Jermaine Marshall was absolutely on fire during that period, and Arizona State also played really consistent defense, I thought, throughout the whole game. In the second half, it just materializes more because they took care of the ball better, and that's where the numbers they put up on defense were really able to go ahead and open the gap and have that 20-point game.
Yeah, you just commented on Jermaine Marshall. He had 26 points, which was just shy of his season record high, but he had 9 points in the first half, 17 in the second, so definitely a difference, and he got really hot in the field. What does it mean for ASU to have such a consistent and strong score?
Well, you can say that this team is going to go as far as Jahi Carson's going to take him, and there's definitely some validity at that point. But Jermaine Marshall was brought over here to go ahead and pick up the slack in scoring that outgoing senior Karen Felix left. So he really needs to have more games like this. Maybe not scoring as many points. That's probably unrealistic to think that he would score that many each and every game. But to go ahead and be that consistent 15, 18-point scorer every game, that's something that would be instrumental to Arizona State offense. Go ahead and balance off with Jahi Carson. Jahi today did not have the greatest of games. When we talk about the sloppiness of the turnovers in the first half, Carson was definitely part of that. I felt that maybe distribution-wise, assist-wise, didn't do as good of a job as he did up until the last few games. So it was great to have Jermaine Marshall and also Shaquille McKissick, who we've been saying for a while, for the entire month of December, has probably been the best player for Arizona State, and starting January is really just continuing on that momentum. So when you have 3 players, Jahi Carson, Shaquille McKissick, and Jermaine Marshall, play the way that they did today, Arizona State's going to come on the right side of the win-loss column more often than not.
Definitely. Now moving forward, going against USC on Thursday, this one was extremely important to get motivation for the road because it's going to be their first game of 3 that they're going to go on the road in a row. So winning tonight after last week's loss, can you just comment on that?
Yeah, absolutely, because Arizona State obviously wanted to start out 2-0. I mean, I thought they had a very good non-conference season, winning 10 games. And you would like to see them to go ahead and start Pac-12 with a 2-0 record. The game against Washington last week was a very winnable game. Unfortunately for them, they did lose it. They were actually dominated in that game, which is probably more disappointing than the loss itself. So a 1-1, you're able to salvage something out of your first 2 home games in the Pac-12. And like you said, a real tough stretch awaiting Arizona State, playing at USC, at UCLA, and at Arizona. On paper, you see the USC game as being the most winnable one. And fortunately for Arizona State, that is going to be the first game they're going to have on Thursday. So very important for them to go ahead and win that game, and then maybe some way, somehow, to go ahead and get a split between the UCLA and Arizona games. So not really the easiest of starts for Arizona State. And again, the loss against Washington made things a little more difficult. But it was absolutely imperative for Arizona State to win today. I mean, it's kind of funny to talk about second game of the Pac-12 schedule on January 5th being a must-win game, but tonight really was that contest for Arizona State. They were able to do it, and I think do it in a pretty convincing manner, especially the way they played in the second half.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm Chenea Schacher after the Sun Devils win over Washington State with publisher Hope Rubino for DevilsDigest.com.